Welcome back, students, to our online teaching and learning at Shet Vidya Mandir English High School and Junior College. Students, in our last video, we saw the Storyteller by H.H. Munro, part 1, where we saw how the children were going through a carriage and were bored with the aunt's story. And so they wanted to hear a story from the bachelor. And let's see now what the bachelor has to say. Now, here are certain highlights in the second part. Let's see. The bachelor began the story with once there was a little girl called Bertha. Now, after insisting to tell a story, the bachelor began with the character saying once there was a girl named Bertha who was extraordinarily good. The children had developed an interest to hear the story because the beginning was very interesting. Bertha was a quite polite girl, always truthful and did all that was told to her. She kept her clothes clean, ate milk puddings, and learned her lessons perfectly. Now, Bertha was explained to be a very good character in the story. She was a very good girl and an honest girl and a polite girl who used to listen to everyone and do all the things perfectly. The bigger of the small girls wanted to know the girl was pretty, for which the bachelor replied that she was not pretty as any of them. Now, children are very inquisitive to know, and girls are very particular to know if the girl was very pretty. So, the story the girl was told that she was not very pretty. Now, just because of the answer that she was not pretty, the questions were not asked further because the children were satisfied that she was not a pretty girl. The bachelor's story seemed to be truthful, which was absent from the aunt's story for an infant. Now, if you talk about an infant or a child's point of view of thinking or imagining, the bachelor's story seemed to be more interesting than that of the aunt. What happened then? Bertha is a girl who won several medals for goodness, which she always wore pinned onto her dress. Pinning up on her dress, she used to always wear those medals. Now, the three medals she wore were for what? Let's see. One for obedience, another one for punctuality, and the third one was for good behavior. The three medals what she wore was for the obedience, for punctuality, she was always punctual, always on time, and the third one was for good behavior, always listening to the elders and everyone and having a good behavior. The large metal medals she wore would cling, let's make a noise of metal sound, on one another as she walked. Since no one in the town had medals like Bertha, so everybody thought she was an extra good child. Now, Bertha was one girl who always wanted to show off, okay? So that's why she used to wear those medals in her neck. And when you wear a metal medals in her neck, it will always make some sound of metal. And people around will always also notice the same. So people in the town were thinking she's an extraordinary good girl. Everybody used to talk about her goodness, and so did the prince of the country. Also, the prince of the country came to know that there's a girl named Bertha who was a very good girl and very polite girl who had already had three medals won by now. Being a good child, she was allowed once a week to walk in his park, which was just outside the town. Now, the bachelor further added that the prince of the country had a beautiful garden, and the garden was not allowed for the children to be open. Only the ones who were multi-talented were given, and from them one of them was Bertha, was given a chance to walk in the park once a week. Now, the park was very beautiful and no children were ever allowed in it. So it was a great honor for Bertha to be allowed to go there. When there are no children allowed and only the girl Bertha got the opportunity, she was very happy to know that she's got the opportunity, and she wanted to always be a special girl. Everybody wants to be special, and that was the feeling Bertha also had. The smaller boy was very inquisitive. Now, the smaller boy is Cyril. He was very inquisitive to know if there were any sheep in the park. Like, boys are very much detective kind of nature, and they wanted to know what is there in the park. So he just wanted to know if there were any sheep. That was the question he put to the bachelor. Now let's see what the bachelor answered. The bachelor informed that there were no sheep, but other small harmless animals in the park. Now, there were no sheep in the park, but there were harmless animals which were the domestic animals which don't harm humans. The bachelor took a pause to get a full idea of the story that he wanted to narrate according to the children's imagination. Now, as he was narrating a story on the spot, he wanted to take a pause to understand what he has to narrate the story according to the imagination of the children. The park did not consist of any flowers, as she had already promised her aunt that she would not pick any of it. Now, Bertha had promised her own aunt, that she would not pick up any flowers. Girls are very fond of flowers. They like to wear flowers in their hair, in their neck, in their hands, like bracelets. So they like to wear flowers everywhere. And so the aunt had told her, Bertha's aunt had told her not to pick out any flowers from the garden. But there were already no flowers in the garden already. Why was it? The children were very excited to know why weren't there any flowers. Now being a park, why were there no flowers? The children were very excited to know. What answer did they get? The pastor then replied to children that the animals had eaten all of them. He further added that the gardeners had told the prince that you cannot have animals and flowers both. And so the prince decided to have animals and no flowers. In the beginning, when the garden was ready, the park was made, there were lots of flowers. But all these flowers were eaten by the domestic animals or the harmless animals which were there in the park. So there were no more flowers. And so the gardener has suggested, if you have flowers, you cannot have animals. You can have any one of them. So the prince always wanted animals. And so he said he will only have animals and not flowers in his park. Now, when there was a complete answer given to the children also became very satisfied with the answer, and they asked no more questions to the bachelor. The bachelor further described the park as what? As follows. Let's see. There were ponds with gold and blue and green fishes. The pond had water, and these beautiful color fishes were in the pond. Trees with beautiful parrots. Trees were having beautiful parrots. Hummingbirds that hummed popular tunes. There were even hummingbirds which sang popular tunes in the garden. Bertha was very happy and enjoyed herself to the fullest. She felt that she was not so extraordinarily good. She would not get a chance to see the beautiful park. Also, her three medals clinked against one another as she talked to remind her how good she was. Whenever she was very happy and enjoyed herself to the fullest in the park. And the medals would always click to each other, make sound to each other when they used to walk in the beautiful park. And it would remind her that how good she was and how different she was. That was the brightness what Bertha had. What happened then? The turning point of the story was that suddenly an enormous wolf, enormous is a huge or a large wolf, wolf is a wild animal, came into the park to hunt for a little animal for its supper. The park was open for animals, though the animals used to come and go. The park had small animals which were harmless animals, so the wolf thought he would come and have some supper. Supper is a dinner. The wolf had seen Bertha in the park because of a white gown which would be seen from a distance. Now Bertha, when she had been to the park, she had worn a nice white beautiful long gown which was visible from a far place also. And so the wolf had a sight of that white shining something. Bertha was very afraid and began to wish that she had never been allowed to come to the park. Now Bertha, as soon as she saw the wild wolf, she became very nervous and very scared because she was alone over there, and she thought, oh God, I shouldn't have come to this park or shouldn't be allowed to come to this park. Bertha ran as hard as she could to save her life from the wolf. She even hid in one of the thickest bushes. Even Bertha tried to hide in the thickest bushes also. But she was still afraid and she wanted to save her life from this wolf. Even then the wolf came sniffing among the branches, its black tongue lolling out of its mouth and its pale grey eyes glaring with rage. Even when the wolf she hid, the wolf still came straight forward towards, because the shine of the white dress was still visible. And he came lolling. Lolling is removing the tongue outside as if hungry for something. And came searching or hunting for what was hiding in the bushes. Its eyes were very much glaring grey eyes, which were very scary and full of danger. Now Bertha was terribly frightened, and thought if she was not so extraordinarily good, she would have been safe in the town at this moment. Bertha, when she was very much afraid, the one thought which came to her mind was that how if she wished she was not an extraordinarily good girl, and that she wouldn't have come to the park and she would have been safe at this moment from the wolf in her city. That was the thought which came to her mind. Due to the scent of the myrtle bushes, myrtles are the bushes which contain white flowers, myrtle bushes. Soft white color flowers are the thick myrtle bushes. Was so strong that the wolf could not sniff out where Bertha was hiding. The flowers had a strong smell, and so no one could understand where the smell is coming from. There was no smell of Bertha which could be smelled by the animal. Bertha was hiding. Also, the bushes were so thick that he might have hunted for a long time without catching the sight of her. The bushes were very thick, and Bertha could hide, and it was not easy to find her in the bushes. The wolf thought he might go off and catch a little animal instead. Instead of finding what is hanging around over there, he thought he can catch an animal easily, smaller animal. The wolf was near to Bertha, and that when she trembled, trembled is shivering. The medal for obedience clinked against the medals for good conduct and punctuality. Now the animals, if they don't get to smell, they don't catch you fast, right? But when Bertha was trying to, she started shivering, and when she shivered, her obedience medal, what she had worn, had clinked or dashed against the other medals of good conduct and punctuality. They clinged to each other, and there was a sound of metal. As the wolf was just moving away, he heard the sound of the medals. He quietly dashed into the bush, and with ferocity, he attacked Bertha. Ferocity and triumph. Ferocity is with a lot of fear, anguishness, and triumph is the victory that he found. And dragged Bertha out and devoured, ate her to the last morsel. Last morsel is the last bite of the food what you take. All that was left behind were her shoes, bits of clothing, and the 3 medals for goodness. So the story was concluding that the wolf ate Bertha, and what was left behind were her shoes, few clothing, and 3 medals which were worn or given to her for goodness. The smaller of the small girls expressed that the story had a bad beginning but a beautiful ending. The beginning was not that good because it was a girl who was very smart, and the ending was too good. It gave a good answer to them. The bigger of the small girls and Cyril also liked the story. The aunt called the story as an improper story to tell to young children. But when the aunt was listening to the story, she felt that the story was not appropriate for children who are small, and that the story was not correct for them. But now the bachelor was preparing to leave the carriage, replied to the aunt that he kept them quiet for 10 minutes, which was more than you were able to do. The bachelor was just about to reach to a station, and so he was getting up. He just gave an answer that though you couldn't make them sit for 10 minutes, quite I made them so. Now, for the next 6 months or so, those children will attack her in public. That is, they will attack their aunt in public with demands of being a bad story or an improper story teller. The children will now further attack their aunt and say she was not a good story teller. I hope the story was clear to you and gave you a good moral value and just made you clear with the story. Here are certain meanings from the second part of the lesson which you may go through and read the text and understand them better. Time for some assessment. Short stories are of many types. Match the type of story with its description. Like in the beginning, I showed you some fiction and non-fiction books. These are their types, which mean what? Now, what's the meaning of anecdote? It's a short, amusing account of an incident. That's option C. Second one is fable. Fable is moral bearing story with animal characters. Option E. What's a parable? Having religious base and a message or moral. That's option G. What's the meaning of might? Originated in ancient type, authorship of unknown. That is your option G. What's the meaning of legend? Legend is having historical base or characters but may not be true. That's again option F. Fairy tale is having supernatural characters, a moral for children. That is your option I. Tragic tale, that's a serious and ends in tragedy. Option A. Fiction is untrue but realistic. Option B. And farce is exaggerated comedy. That's a extraordinary comedy. Option H. And lastly, satire means where vices and folly are ridiculed. That is included. Vices and folly. Mistakes have been highlighted. That's option D. Complete the following story using the verbs given the bracket in the proper form. Now here are certain verbs in the bracket which you have to use a proper form of verb, that is your tenses, by reading the sentences. Like I'll help you with the first paragraph. One night a man dashed a dream. One night means already it's a past tense. One night a man had a dream. He dashed that he was dash. He dreamed. Now it's already a past tense. It will become dreamt that he was walking, past tense, along the beach with God. Across the sky flashed scenes from his life. For each scene, he noticed two sets of footprints in the sand, one belonging to him, and the other to God. So this is how you want to complete your blanks and fill in the answers accordingly. Furthermore, from the story, part 1 and part 2, find 4 words which begin with the prefix un and write their opposites. Like here, there are few words from the passage which is unhappy. The prefix is unhappy and the answer is happy. Unsympathetic, sympathetic. Unenterprising, enterprising. And uninteresting, interesting. Find one example for the following punctuation marks from the story and copy the sentence which is used. That are the words, sentences should have a colon and a semicolon. Colons are the two dots which when you highlight for someone you use the words, and also semicolons. Semicolons are the one which has a full stop and a comma together. That's when you give a dialogue to someone. Read the following pieces from the story and suggest a title as to what the incident was all about. Like if you look in the title column, from the smaller girl treated a diversion. What does that mean? The diversion was on the road to Manly. In a low confidential voice. Who was telling in the low confidential voice? That the aunt tells a story. Bertha did all that she was told. Means Bertha was an extraordinary child. The storyteller paused to let a park without flowers. The storyteller was listening and trying to make a story out of it. Bertha was trembling very much. That is a terrible end for Bertha. Write in your own words. A few questions are given to you. You have to read the questions and write a complete answer in your own words with reference to the lesson. Now in 3 to 5 sentences, you can write about each of the characters which we already saw in part 1. You may go to the video and write those characters as mentioned over here also. So you may refer those and frame them in about 3 to 5 lines only and rewrite them over here. Say whether you agree or disagree. You may read the text and answer the questions. The children could have behaved well in the train if their aunt had scolded them harshly. It's disagree. The youngest child was most irritating. Agree. Being a bachelor, the stranger had no patience with children. Disagree. The bachelor had good patience. The children showed disinterest even in the bachelor's storytelling throughout. It's disagree. Bertha was very good but very proud too. Disagree. The prince had rare, uncommon likes and dislikes. Agree. The wolf could not trace Bertha because she was behind a myrtle bush. Agree. The bachelor had narrated an improper story to the children. Also, disagree. I hope the lesson was clear to you and gave you a good moral. Thank you.